welcome to Book Club Preview. I'm Michael, and today we're looking at what if, and we're actually trying to tackle a few different questions. One, if a glass were literally half empty, meaning there's no oxygen, no air, no nothing, well, what would happen? And then we have some weird and worrying questions. Number 5, there we go, number 5. And then a third question, wondering about alien astronomers. If alien astronomers were looking at us, what would they see? Well, let's jump into it. There we go. First of all, we talk about an optimist and a pessimist, or a pessimist and optimist, which is one of our vocabulary words. A pessimist is someone who looks at something and usually sees something negative. This glass is empty. It's half empty. The optimist would look at a glass and see, oh, this glass is half full. Optimist would look at and see something positive about the situation. And there's a bunch of different jokes about different kinds of people looking at the glass. But mostly, people don't really ask which half of the glass would be half empty. So we're going to look at 3 different glasses, okay? The first glass on the left, is that left for me? Are you? Well, it's my left, okay? The water is at the top, and at the bottom, there is a vacuum. There's nothing there, okay? It just disappears. In the middle, there's water on the bottom and oxygen or air in the top. And the third one, there is a vacuum on the top and then water on the bottom. So they're all starting at 0. Okay, ready, go. What will happen? And I couldn't tell in the comic book, but I think he has like micromilliseconds, something like that. Looks like there's a number sign on that S, which is a little bit different than the milliseconds, and then which is different than like the seconds that come later. So the first one is if it just starts boom disappearing, the water will actually start to boil, meaning it'll start to rise or try to get out into the air because there's nothing there next to it, and so it'll start to float away. The far right glass, what would happen to that is the air would go whoo very quickly inside, and it would actually create a little shock wave, and that shock wave would go down into the water and then go back up. Not really quite powerful enough to break the glass, but the shock wave would happen. Middle glass, nothing would happen. And then the other glass, there would be some more water kind of going down, but still nothing happening yet. About 1 millisecond, the far left glass would then create a shock wave of the air kind of moving in, and that would create a bang sound, okay, be a suction sound, poof, which we would hear a little bit later. Then the glass would actually start to lift off because the vacuum, okay, would be pulling it up off the ground as the air is trying to get into there, and so it would kind of lift off a little bit. Then the water and would actually start to slide down, being pushed from the vacuum and the air into the middle, and it would keep sliding up higher until finally the water went just kabam right into the vacuum like a hammer, and it would just clunk out of the bottom, and water would spill out everywhere. The top part would still rise. It would still have the momentum from that suction to still going up into the air, and then it would crash and explode in the ceiling, fall back down. The other water part would be crack and splashing and splatter glass everywhere too. And so we see the optimist, the poor guy, gets splattered all by glass. And he's like, whoa, cool. And the pessimist kind of runs away. So at the end, the author kind of has a joke. The optimist sees the glass as half full. The pessimist sees the glass as half empty. And the physicist, he ducks because he knows there's going to be an explosion in the glass because the vacuum. That leaves us with our weird and worrying questions. If global warming is making the Earth hotter and volcanoes are making the Earth colder, doesn't that kind of balance out? And I love the picture. Oh, we're in a blizzard. I wish I had a fever so that way I would be warm. Ooh, doesn't seem like that would work. This one, cheese cutting wire. If you have a block of cheese, okay, it's not sliced, usually there'll be a little roller with some wire on it, and you can kind of roll that down and it'll cut the cheese. So if you had this wire, how fast would a human have to be going to go and be cut in half? And it shows a little guy watching a video. Oh man, that's a terrible question. Okay, that leaves us to our weird and worrying, our next question about alien transmissions. Well, radio transmissions, if they were listening to us, they're probably not going to hear us. One, maybe like 30 years ago or 50 years ago when we were shooting radio signals everywhere, maybe they could have heard something. But now technology has gotten so focused and so much more accurate that a lot of our radio waves aren't escaping into outer space. They're being transmitted very clearly. Now there is a satellite dish that will actually shoot light or maybe like radio waves at planets so we can see them a little bit better. If we just happen to be shooting at that alien planet's direction, they could get like a poof, but it'd be gone. And they'd get like this mysterious blip, which we actually received or heard a mysterious blip in the 1977. Just this, and it was gone. And scientists all over the world wonder, what was it? We have no idea. Well, radio signals probably aren't going to be the best option, but they might be able to see us because of light. As the Earth is going around the sun, the way the light is coming off the Earth, they would be able to notice that. And the way that the light is passing through our atmosphere, they could notice that. And they could see like, whoa, why is there oxygen around this planet? That's very odd. And so because of the algae and the trees around the Earth creating oxygen for our atmosphere, they could tell that something different is going on with Earth. If we were to actually want to try and get their attention, the best way, and there would be a lot of problems with this, would to shoot a satellite off to their planet to say hello. The problem is we don't have the technology to really get it there that fast, and it would cost fuel to slow down for it to say something. But if we just wanted to get their attention, we could shoot out this satellite and they would see a little blip, and then they'd see a satellite, and then they'd see a big satellite saying sorry, and excuse me, a crash, and the satellite would be gone. But then they'd know we are here at least. That leaves us with some vocabulary. A pessimist, we already talked about. Optimist, we already talked about. Radio signals, he talks about attenuation, which is like a reduction of something. Meaning as our signals, radio signals, for example, get sent out into outer space, they slowly start to fade apart, to become unclear, and you can't hear or see anything. The power of the signal gets less and less and less. A catchphrase is something usually on like a movie or a TV show that people say, and they say it often enough that character says it often enough that people in society actually start to use that expression or that phrase. I'm actually trying to think of one, but I don't watch a lot of TV or movies, so I can't think of any modern ones. But there were a few movies and webcomics that show aliens, and aliens are like watching American TV or something, and they're using like American expressions in their language. That'd be a catchphrase. Trying to think of one. I'm sorry, I can't think of any. But if you can, please write a few in the comments. That way other people can see some examples. That leaves us with our discussion question. Do you think there are aliens on other planets? If you say yes, are they watching us? And of course, please make your own discussion question. That is all the time that we have for today. But thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Book Club Preview. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.